Welcome to the Canada Gold presentation in the AGORACOM Online Gold and Commodities Conference. My name is Chad McMillan. I'm the Vice President of Communications, and I will be presenting our company to you today. I'll be answering questions posted by investors who are watching the presentation at our scheduled time. And otherwise, if you're watching this presentation outside of our scheduled time, please post your questions, and I'll be happy to check them over the next couple days and answer them. First, before we get underway, if I could ask you to please have a look at our disclosure and disclaimer page with some forward-looking statements that you may hear in the presentation. Please ask you to have a quick read of that. And once you've had an opportunity to have a look, my friends, I'll be happy to introduce you to a new gold opportunity in the junior mining sector called Canada Gold. Now, roughly 13 to 20 million independent miners are actively recovering a variety of elements in small-scale mining operations worldwide. These activities are predominantly prevalent in 50 or so developing countries across South America, Asia, and Africa, where there are actually, in fact, as many as 100 million people dependent upon what the 13 to 20 are doing in these areas, and they're dependent upon it to help secure their livelihood. Now, these small-scale mining activities are often associated with significant health, safety, and environmental risks, as well as impoverished conditions contributing to child labor. One of the most predominant issues involved in small-scale mining is the use of mercury in the recovery of gold from their ores, which is passed through streams and rivers, and and contaminates quite a number of agricultural communities and things of the like. So mercury is definitely a prevalent issue as an example of the impact of small-scale mining activities in these countries. Now, Canada Gold has been formed for the express purpose of developing mineral processing facilities to service these small-scale and artisanal mining communities in these developing countries. Now, the company's first facility is slated for Peru, where the Peruvian government estimates at least 6,500 small-scale independent miners are currently producing approximately 3,000 tons per day of high-grade gold ore from near-surface epithermal vein systems in northern Peru. In fact, the number of people that are actively involved in northern Peru has been estimated or through other sources to be much greater. In fact, as many as 20,000 people operating in that area. So there's certainly a great deal of activity in northern Peru. Currently, there's no significant ore processing facilities in northern Peru. Most of the ore processing activities that occur in the region are of quite small nature, or in fact, in the backyards of some people's homes. In many cases, crudely built and lightly serviced. Equally so, many other Peruvian miners are currently trucking 400 to 600 tons a day of their ore somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,400 kilometers to the south for processing at a high cost. Now, us at Canada Gold figure that by providing local miners with access to advanced ore processing techniques, the company's mineral processing model will help establish sustainable socioeconomic standards through encouraging entrepreneurship, curtailing health and safety risks, improving access to education and equipment, reducing environmental degradation, and minimizing the pressures contributing to child labor. The company's model also specifically improves the miners' capital returns and minimizes the opportunity cost of long-distance travel and transportation. Now, we're working towards game-changing partnerships with the company. In so doing, we're looking to the financial community, we're looking to major and mid-cap mining companies and organizations. We're looking at governmental and non-governmental organizations as sources of financing, expertise, partnership, where the intent is to deploy comprehensive community-building solutions, which include these mineral processing facilities that we propose in small-scale mining-focused regions around the world. You'll see here on this slide as well that I have outlined several organizations that are actively involved in the small-scale mining space, primarily of which you may like to take a look at: CHASM, which is called the Communities and Artisanal Small-Scale Mining Association. I believe their website is chasm.org. Equally so, there's a link on our website to pass through if that's not the case. But I encourage you to have a closer look at what those organizations are doing as well. So to describe the process to you, basically what will happen is that an independent small-scale miner will deliver ore to the Canada Gold processing plant. Canada Gold will receive the ore. We will then weigh it, crush it, and assay it. And the miners will receive payment based on contained gold with deductions for processing costs, including capital recovery, plant recovery losses, selling costs, and the like. Canada Gold would then process the purchase ores through a state-of-the-art metal recovery plant. And other metals, through that process, if contained in the ore, like silver, copper, lead, zinc, and the like, will be separated, recovered, and also sold for additional credits. So just to repeat that, the focus of our model is to concentrate on purchasing the gold, where it will be more difficult to ascertain the accurate quantities of other ores, and so we will process them through our system and retain additional credits as revenue on the other side. And then the fifth and final point of the process is that gold metal may be poured on site and shipped by a third-party security firm for sale or further refining. We are evaluating alternatives for that stage of the process, and there may be different ways we will approach it. But as it stands, that is an included aspect of our plans. So when looking at the business model for Canada Gold, primary revenues will be generated for the mineral processing fee, which would be the dollar per ton, paid by the miners, and the spread between payable metals and recovered metals. There are three proposed profit centers for the facility. One will be gold sales, the other processing fees, and the third, sales of other recoverable metals, as I've mentioned in a previous slide, such as copper, moly, lead, zinc, you name it. So looking at growth opportunities, we believe there's additional opportunity for other regional plants in north and central Peru that our company could look to establish. Equally so, because of the scale and the scope of the activities and the small-scale mining space worldwide, we believe there exists a number of other opportunities in South America, Asia, and Africa. And to that end, specifically, at this time, it's worthy to mention that we're looking at opportunities in Colombia and Ecuador, where we believe there might be compatible situations to embed our solutions in a socially sustainable fashion. And equally so, that said, we are open to other areas or opportunities where others may perceive our plans to be compatible with their activities. Getting back a bit to the specs on the Peruvian facility, to let you know, it's a 300 ton a day initial capacity. It's upgradable, certainly to 600 tons a day with a modest additional investment, but equally so would be upgradable beyond that as well. 12 months to build the facility, and the location will be centrally located, so we can receive ore flows from multiple areas. One of the big questions I get a lot of is, what does your resource look like? And when I look to speak to what that is, I certainly suggest it could be all of northern or central Peru, given the number of people that are out there. It's really tough to measure, but certainly there is quite a bit of ore flow coming from multiple directions. And so, establishing the facility in a central location is an ideal strategy.